Luis Fernando from Quinótico. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Lo primero que te quería preguntar es, ¿cómo te encuentras hoy? Después de años de desarrollo, de haber estrenado la primera parte, ¿cómo se siente el presentar ya el acto final al público?
First of all, how do you feel? I mean, it's been quite a few years in development. Mm-hmm. You've already released the first part and you're about to release the final part. Yeah. So how do you feel?
It's been a long journey, 5+ years. I've had 3 children since the beginning of this movie. My whole life has changed. The first movie, The Run, was so amazing to go through. I think all our lives have changed. So I feel, and being a director is sort of lonely by design, to carry a whole story, not just one story, but 2 stories. We spent so much time and effort. So to finally be giving that to the audience is really exciting, and I can't wait to see it with them and feel it with them, because we feel it so deeply. We've known both of these for many, many years now. So I have a different reality than everybody else. So welcoming everybody in is going to be very exciting.
Wicked for Good es un gran paso adelante, tanto en el tiempo de la historia como en la maduración de los personajes. ¿Cómo de complejo fue rodar ambas partes, pero teniendo que marcar un tono muy concreto para cada una de ellas?
This film is a step forward compared to in terms of timeline and the maturity of the characters, but how complicated it was to shoot both parts at the same time, taking into account the shift in the tone every time.
Yeah, I think that's what we couldn't talk about last time. It was just about movie 1, but we had already shot movie 2, and yes, like you said, every day was a different. And one day they're in shiz, the next day a burning effigy, and the next day they're singing for good. It was such a technical feat on the actors level, if you can think about it, and all the departments, costumes and makeup and lighting and how we shot it. It was shooting 2 movies, and so I think we put it on a wall, and every day we would look at, and we put emotions on the wall and where they were emotionally, so I could actually track and help them, guide them. But this is a testament to how good our crew was, that they knew they could plug in exactly emotionally where these characters were, and I think the audience will feel like we shot this years later. But actually, it's the time when we didn't even know if people would want to see this movie. So it's a feat of our lifetime, actually.
En esta segunda parte volvemos a ver trabajos excepcionales por parte de Cynthia Erivo y Ariana Grande. A ello ayudan mucho esos 2 números musicales nuevos que aportan una gran profundidad y desarrollo a los personajes que interpretan. ¿Cuánta responsabilidad sientes al ampliar el universo de Wicked y su imaginario?
So, well, in the second part, we see exceptional numbers from Cynthia and Ari, especially 2 new numbers with further depth to the characters. So how much of a responsibility do you feel? No? How heavy of a responsibility is to introduce these numbers to tell this story?
I felt a huge responsibility to not just the fans of Wicked for all these 20 years, but to generations before who loved The Wizard of Oz. Not just the movie or the different types of movies, but also the book itself. It has such an embedded history in our culture. So yeah, every step I was scared to death. And luckily we all felt that. It was bigger than Ariana Grande, it was bigger than Cynthia Erivo, it was bigger than all of us together. So we just linked arms and trusted that what we would have to dig at was the truth of this, the truth of how it connects to us today, even though it was written 20 years ago or 100 years ago. And I think because this was at this time where the world is changing and the movie is about change. Absolutely.
For Ariana and Cynthia being present. I think
when you have 2 actors who are at such a high level, you can actually give them the ball and say, do your thing, I'll be right here capturing it. And that's really nice. Yeah. Should I end it where we ended up?
No, we continue.
Yeah.
Let me finish my thought, which is so I felt a lot of pressure, and the new songs even more so, because we had to make sure that they were worth doing in this movie. If they were just just a song to put in there, it wouldn't have made it. In fact, we did versions where we cut the songs just to make sure, and you were missing pieces of their journey. So, and you have Stephen Schwartz writing these new songs, so why not do it?
Precisamente hablando de los nuevos números en el que protagoniza Ariana Grande, te vemos realizando un curioso juego de espejos que en mi opinión es un reflejo de la personalidad que Glinda transmite al mundo y la que ella ve de sí misma. ¿Cómo de bien te lo pasaste rodando ese número y cómo ha crecido Jon M como director en este proceso?
Talk about your numbers. I have in my mind this number by Ariana, where you play with the mirrors.
Oh yeah.
And well, I think she's showing like the personality she shows to the world and the one, well, for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering how much fun was shooting that, and how do you feel you have grown?
As a filmmaker, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I loved watching Ariana Grande become an actor through the course of this movie. She had never led a movie before, and that's a daunting task for anybody, no matter how talented you are. But she became Glinda. In fact, from the very first audition, she said, "Glinda is me." She said, "I know what it feels like for people who are looking at you to give them good. And sometimes deep down inside, you're not ready for that yet. And yet they're looking to you for encouragement." And so when she sang "Couldn't Be Happier," she's like, that is my life. And that is my life currently, trying to find my identity. And by the end of the movie, when she's singing for good, she has actually changed in her real life. And when she sings "Girl in the Bubble," she's in the moment in her life where she's trying to decide so many things that will affect the rest of her life beyond the movie. And so it was very emotional, even in our rehearsals. Like, it was very hard for her to look at her own reflection. And we really wanted to, share that with the audience. Yes, she's singing, but there is so much truth in it. And when we turn, it's very technical, by the way. It's one shot that we're going into mirrors and out of mirrors. And so that can be actually difficult on an actor too, because they have to be technical, even though it's a song that's so emotional. But I never wanted to leave the frame here. I was like, there's no reason to leave this. So how do we do this and still be in her head? It's a beautiful thing about movie musicals. You get to be deeper and more intimate with them. And not just a close-up, but feel the difference of what you're feeling in her head by where the camera is. And so that was amazing to watch her perform that. And every time she did it, it felt like it was a soliloquy of her own life bubbling up from it. So.
Hace un año, me vas a permitir que me cite a mí mismo, escribí que la primera entrega era una vibrante explosión de color que se convertía en necesaria celebración de lo diferente, de lo extraordinario. La película llegó a un momento en el que la gente, especialmente en Estados Unidos, necesitaba mirar al futuro con optimismo. Esta segunda parte vuelve a reclamar la necesaria lucha colectiva por los derechos y de quien es diferente frente a quien los oprime. ¿Crees que la resonancia con la actualidad en aquel momento y ahora es parte de la clave del éxito de Wicked?
Let me quote myself 1 year ago when I published, well, how the first installment was a vibrant explosion of color. Well, you celebrated diversity and the extraordinary element of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess in the USA, well, people needed this in order to look at the future with some certain optimism. Here we find again, like the different, against the oppressor. I'm wondering, do you see this resonance and how making people feel this way is part of the key of your success with these 2 installments?
Mm-hmm. I think that what is amazing about cinema is that when you find a story that is of the moment, but also that cinema lasts forever. So a movie that's also timeless, that it's about the cycles of humanity, that they can act as warning signs to warn us, or they can act as a mirror to say, who are we, and what have we become, and who you want to be. And we get this beautiful frame of these 2 women that we've now seen grow up and make certain choices. And in movie 2, we get to expose the consequences of those choices and how difficult, actually, to make choices after that are. That it is not always a fairy tale or a fable or mythology where it just buttons up. That actual real life, adult life, is more complicated than that. It involves sometimes being wicked, sometimes being good, and also forgiving each other and giving each other grace. I think those truths were something that the best musicals ever made are ones that try to explore the truth, even though there's song and dance on top of it. And I feel like that's what we always strived for, scratching at truth. And we shot this 2.5 years ago, nothing that's happening today was happening back then, but you could feel it in the air. Who are we becoming? Who would be? They say, oh, it's a journey, not the destination. Actually, it's not the journey nor the destination. It's who you are during all of it, and who do you decide to be. So I think that was our guiding light throughout. Like, let's just expose how we feel, the insecurities, how we feel right now, and the audience will find us on the other end of that, because I think they share in the same thing. And I have changed forever from this movie. I did things that I never thought I could do with an army of people that believed in this vision as well and offered things. And so for me, it is a culmination of my whole life that I was destined to tell this story. And I hope that people accept it into their life and that they feel this. We go through years of an experience, and I hope they get that little experience in this 2-hour window.
El año pasado, Wicked se convirtió en una de las grandes protagonistas de la noche de los Oscar, aunque solo acabara ganando un premio. Fue la que creó los momentos más memorables, digamos, de la gala. Fue un fenómeno cultural, le abrazaron tus compañeros de la industria. ¿Cómo viviste eso y cómo te enfrentas ahora a una nueva campaña en la que vuelves para cerrar este capítulo final? ¿Cómo es volver a presentarle a tus compañeros de trabajo el resultado de tantos años?
I remember a year ago in the Oscars ceremony, well, it was like the protagonist of the night, even if it ended up receiving just one award, but it was the most memorable thing of the night, and I remember well how your colleagues embraced your work, and I was wondering how you face this new campaign to close the circle. No, how does it feel?
I think we don't think about the awards in it. I think when you're making a movie of this scale and scope that involves so much of our own lives, that it truly is a release of this adventure we went on. And that's the main thing, that the audience gets to feel what we get to feel. The girls were very emotional in all their interviews last year. It wasn't because they shot movie 1. It was because they shot movie 1 and 2 at the same time. We lived a whole lifetime before you ever saw one frame of it. So we've been living with this in our head, and it's been hard to keep this part a secret. And now that people are gonna get to experience it, I think we finally get to release what we've been through. And I think that that's a powerful thing, and I think that that's what we're most encouraged about. Who knows how people take it, who critics think, whatever. Like, to us, I think it is much bigger than any of that, much bigger than any Academy Award. It is, can this stand the test of time? We got the opportunity to go visit Oz again. We got the opportunity to build Oz. We got the opportunity to discover 2 giant stars that are gonna do work for many, many years. And we got to share an experience where we're all so insecure about who we are and how brave we are. Are we brave enough? And maybe this gives someone out there a little bit of courage. I know it gave us, while making this movie, more courage. And I hope that it gives others as well.
Y para terminar, en los últimos tiempos hemos visto tristemente cierto retroceso en las políticas de inclusión y representatividad en las películas. ¿Es este Oz del que hablas uno de los últimos bastiones de la diversidad en Hollywood? ¿O está esa lucha todavía permanente en Hollywood por seguir representando?
Well, sadly enough, we've seen in the last times less policies defending inclusion and diversity and so forth. Do you think you're like one of the last beacons for the representation of diversity, or do you think people are still fighting for this?
I think people are still fighting. I think that one of the main themes of our movie is courage, and Glinda finding the moment to stand up. I think we are mostly like Glinda, even though we want to be like Elphaba. And I think what we're trying to show is that it's okay to struggle. Courage isn't the end of a story. In fact, courage has no expiration date. The moment you are ready, it's okay to do it. You didn't miss your opportunity. And I think that that's how we felt about this, where we are in our lives and in our movie, and I hope that that's what the world feels like. It's never too late to stand up.
Thank you so much
for
the interview.
Appreciate it. Thank you.